Furiously, he began writing his greatest work on black self-reliance and achievement, called The Condition, Elevation, Emigration, and Destiny of the Colored People of the United States.
The regeneration of the African race can only be affected by its own efforts, the efforts of its own self. Whatever aid may come from other sources, Africa is our fatherland, and we its legitimate descendants. I have outgrown the boundaries of claims.
Frederick Douglass, William Lloyd Garrison, and virtually all abolitionist leaders either ignored, were cool to, or vehemently against Delany's proposal to lead a group of able and willing black Americans back to Africa to start again, as it were, as pilgrims in the New World. He was denied by almost everyone. The man who wanted too much. The man who aimed too high. In 1859, Martin Delany boarded the Mendi in New York City harbor, bound for the Niger Valley. His unparalleled year-old expedition there included meeting and closing colonization agreements with Nigerian chieftains in Abeokuta. But the applause of the warm welcome he received in London's scientific and political circles as he returned from Africa was quickly drowned out by the thunder of the artillery of the Civil War. Delany rushed home. His plan to settle Africa and grow cotton that would undersell cotton from the American South and Europe's markets was suddenly passé and pointless. Instead, he helped to recruit blacks in Ohio to fight for their freedom. Nearly 200,000 blacks would eventually fight, dying at a rate significantly greater than their white comrades. 24 would win the nation's highest medal for bravery, the Congressional Medal of Honor. So impressed by what he called this extraordinary and intelligent black man, President Abraham Lincoln belatedly followed the urgings of Delany and others for more black military leaders, and to Delany's surprise, appointed him to be the first black field officer in the U.S. Army in early 1865. Major Delany took his passion for helping his race with him to Charleston, South Carolina after the war, where, working for the U.S. Freedmen's Bureau, he struggled against bureaucracy, the smoldering resentments of Southern whites, and the inexperience of just freed blacks in being self-reliant. Never forgetting that money bought his father his freedom, Major Delany urged the freed blacks to insist on some of the fruits of their labors, sensing that power in the voting booth was not very secure. He urged freed blacks to collectively seek to obtain title to their own land. But, just as he had warned, power did slip away from the blacks in the South, as white politicians replaced black lawmakers in the state legislatures. Blacks were gently coerced into a status of second-class citizen under the guise of this separate but equal doctrine. Martin Delany woefully wrote Bishop Henry M. Turner, who had recently been unlawfully deprived of his own elected seat in the Georgia legislature.
But you know, our people must be kept poor and ignorant so that they may be profitable laborers. I live in miserable County Edgefield, and every pulsation of my heart prays to God to speed next fall, when I shall leave for Liberia.
Yes, the sweet call of Africa's jungle forests and plains called Martin Delany once more. But when the Azores set sail from Charleston in 1878, with 256 able black artisans, the 66-year-old warrior stood on the dock, waving farewell. He knew he had to continue his medical practice at the family home in Wilberforce, Ohio, to ensure that his two youngest children would have a college education. In 1885, he died. Few remembered or had known all that he had done. But did Martin Delany fail in his African dream? No, not at all. In 1989, descendants of the Azore Expedition's crew still lived and worked in Liberia, where their ancestors had once prospered. Martin Delany's dream lives on in them.